The phone rang at 1:13 in the morning. Hospitals don't call at that hour unless someone's life is hanging by a thread. Your son is in critical condition, the voice said, flat, clinical, completely detached. My heart forgot how to function. My hands went numb. He was only 6, still losing baby teeth, still asking if monsters hid under the bed, still calling me Daddy like it meant safety, like it meant something unbreakable. I'd only been gone 3 nights, a business trip I'd postponed too many times. I left him with my wife and her mother, thinking it would be fine. I called her in a panic, breath catching in my throat. What happened?
Is he?
She laughed. Not nervously, not out of confusion. It was carefree, almost entertained. You shouldn't have left him with me, she said, like I had set the stage for this myself. Like the punchline had finally landed. Her mother came on next. Her voice was a frostbite behind my ears. He never listens. He brought this on himself. I didn't shout, didn't break down. I just sat on the edge of that hotel bed, the phone still in my grip, a silent scream caught deep inside my chest. By morning, I was already at the hospital. An hour later, they arrived too, stood in the doorway, saw his little body tangled in wires and tubes, skin painted with bruises. No, this can't be real, they gasped. It sounded rehearsed, like actors delivering lines they'd practiced in front of a mirror. But I already knew the story. I'd read ahead. They claimed he slipped, that the stairs were slick, that nobody saw it happen. I listened, nodded slowly. I didn't believe a word. He was cautious, always looked both ways, flinched when voices got loud, hated chaos. He wouldn't have fallen. But what chilled me wasn't just the lie. It was the laziness behind it. My wife didn't seem heartbroken. She looked bored. Her mother grumbled about the hospital coffee being too cold. I asked if he said anything before it happened. She narrowed her eyes. He kept crying for you, over and over. He wouldn't shut up. Her voice held irritation, not sorrow. I stared at her like I was seeing her for the first time, like her face had rearranged itself overnight into something unrecognizable. There was rot in the silence between their words, and in the fact that my wife never once reached for our son's hand. I stayed by his side, didn't leave the room, acted like grief had paralyzed me. Truth was, I was paying attention, gathering the quiet. One nurse slipped me the charts when no one was looking. Her eyes flicked toward the hallway. This wasn't a fall, she whispered. Too many specific injuries, cracked ribs, damaged lungs, defensive wounds. That night, I checked his backpack. I found a drawing, scribbled in crayon. A child's chaos. 2 large figures circled in red, looming over a tiny stick figure. The big ones had angry faces. The little one was crying. He drew his death before it happened. I folded the paper once, slipped it into my coat pocket like a blade. Then I reviewed the footage. I hadn't told anyone about the spare nanny cam tucked inside the bookshelf, masked by old novels. I sat alone in the hospital cafeteria, watching it play. There was my wife yelling, "Stop crying! Stop crying!" Then came the sound, sharp, unmistakable. A slap. Her mother stood there, arms folded, unmoved. My son, crumpled on the floor, trembling. He didn't fall. They threw him. I saved the video in 3 places, on a flash drive, my phone, and a hidden cloud drive. The next morning, they showed up with flowers. Fake tears. Fabricated concern. I was ready. I handed her an envelope. Plain, sealed. She opened it slowly, hesitantly. Inside were screenshots, images from the footage, snapshots from the medical chart, and a copy of the drawing. Her fingers froze. "What is this?" she asked, breathless. Nothing, I said. Just stared. She turned to her mother. Did you know? Her mother's face twisted. He was acting up. I told you we shouldn't have taken him in. Taken him in. As if he wasn't hers. Her mask cracked first. My wife's followed. They started pointing fingers, pleading, accusing, saying I made it all up. But I wasn't finished. I stepped to the side. The detective, who'd been waiting just outside, walked into the room. Their eyes shifted. I saw the moment fear took hold, when they realized they no longer controlled the narrative. I didn't press charges immediately. No, I let them panic. Let them sweat. Let my wife sob under fluorescent lights in the interrogation room while I sipped lukewarm coffee on the other side of the one-way mirror. Let her mother beg for a lawyer no one was willing to call. Then, when the timing was right, I laid the custody papers on the table. Full custody. No visitation. I didn't need an attorney. The evidence did the talking. The nurse testified. A child psychologist reviewed the drawing. They lost everything. I made sure of it. No raised voices. No fists. No threats. Just eye contact. You laughed, I whispered to my wife in the hallway. And she broke, right there, knees buckling. Not because she felt guilt, but because she realized she'd lost control, the one thing she thought she still owned. My son is recovering now. Still startles at slamming doors. Still asks if monsters are real. I tell him the truth. No, not the ones in stories. But I won't lie to you. I just gave the word a new meaning. Monsters don't live in shadows. They walk down aisles in white dresses. They smile while pouring you coffee as your child cries behind closed doors. But I buried those monsters. And I never had to raise my voice. All it took was truth. Because truth, delivered in silence, cuts deeper than any blade. And sometimes, the cruelest revenge is surviving intact, with everything they tried to ruin still in your arms.